Hi, everybody, and welcome to the PBA50 Johnny Petraglia BVL Open presented by Brunswick. I'm PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson. Joining me, PBA Hall of Famer Johnny Petraglia, my dear friend, and the only player to ever win a national title in 6 decades. First of all, Johnny, what does it mean for someone like yourself to lend your name to this event?
I think this is really important, Randy. I've been involved with veterans ever since I got back from Vietnam, and the BVL, which got started in 1942, we kicked in pretty early, and to be a part of them and to raise the money for the veterans, the greatest citizens that we have, is really important for me.
Well, and we really appreciate you and your support and your name being a great part of this event. Johnny, looking at our Stepladder finals, is there anything that sticks out, or is there a favorite that you're going to go with today?
Well, the thing is that Brian LeClair, who's the tournament leader, so he's in the title match again. Like last year, he bowled against Pete Weber, and he needed a strike to beat Pete, and he made a really good shot, and he didn't carry. So there's a lot of heavy hitters that's going to come up against Brian, but I think Brian might be ready this year.
All right, Johnny, looking forward to your commentary. Folks, the Stepladder finals starting right now. In our opening match, we have 20-time national titleist Amleto Monacelli taking on John Conroy, who's making his first ever Stepladder finals. Johnny, any surprise there?
A big surprise. I mean, John bowls a lot of regionals. John Conroy bowls a lot of regionals. He's a very good bowler, but he was put into position that he needed a double in the 10th frame to make the Stepladder, and he went pack on 2 great shots. You didn't see any muscle. You didn't see any nervousness. He threw them both great. I'm really proud of him. He threw 2 great shots, but now he's got to face Amleto. This is a tough task.
Yeah, the consolation prize. You get Amleto Monacelli in the opening match. We have a great lineup. Brian LeClair, our number 1 seed, followed by Ron Mohr, Bob Learn Jr., and Bob Learn will take on the winner of this match. Bob Learn, a couple of weeks ago, ran the ladder and then eventually lost to the tournament champion, Lenny Borsch. But Bob Learn on a mini hot streak, and Brian LeClair winning the first event of the PBA50 season.
Yeah, actually, the people, other than John, have all been bowling so well this season. His first 4 or 5 events, Ron Mohr has been right there in a title match, and Amleto and Learn has been up there every week. Brian LeClair won the opening event, so you've got people that have been there almost every week that have thrown the ball really well.
John Conroy is going to get us started. He'll start the match, which means he will finish the match on the right lane. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles the nerves, because I promise you he's never felt anything like this.
Very true. Wow. Boy, that was a problem, wasn't it? It was just, way to go, John. He threw that ball like he's been doing it his whole life.
Pretty good opening shot there.
Yeah.
Typically, John, does he loft the ball?
Yes, he does most of the time. He is, and he loves to play out. He'll try and be further to the right than everybody else on the show. John likes to. If he has to, he'll get firmer to stay out, and or shell down, to use less bowling ball.
First shot of Hall of Famer Amleto Monacelli. And a nice opening break, tripping the 4 late, John.
Amleto, when you watch Amleto bowl, I remember watching Amleto when he was 16 years old. The first time that he came to America, had Dave Davis drill his bowling balls.
No kidding.
And he was good then at 16, and he's always maintained. He's physically kept himself in tremendous shape over all these years. He and Bob Learn together, and it really shows up on the senior tour. You look at Amleto and say, "Wow, can I look like that when I'm in my 50s?" And then actually, when I think about this particular telecast, you have Bob Learn, Amleto, and Ron Mohr, who does 700 sit-ups a day. You have athletic people, in the 2, 3, 4 position that it really starts to show up as the season goes on.
Beauty there. You know, John, the one thing I remember most about Amleto Monacelli when he first came out on tour was how many people tried to change his style.
Yeah, like they tried to change Mark Roth. That was not a good thing to do, was it?
I mean, 20-time titleist, Hall of Famer, I believe 8 wins out here. He's a monster.
Yeah, and he's won, because I think he's won 4 of our senior majors out here also. Whoops, that looked bad. Oh, he got away with it. In case the folks are wondering about the medical logo on John Conroy's shirt and on his sleeve, John is a retired paramedic, and his wife is a retired emergency room nurse. So that's why the 2 logos that he's wearing.
I love it. It's a cool logo. And you see the heartbeat monitor like on the back of the shirt.
Monitor,
you know,
you see that.
Pretty cool.
And the EMS on the
Yep,
sleeve there.
Yep. Good stuff. We could have used him earlier today. We were talking about cortisone. And all of the cortisone injections that I've gone through in my life, with all my knee surgeries and everything. And we were talking about Pete Weber's hip injury. And yesterday I was talking to Pete, and he was telling me how he refused to get a needle stuck in him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was adamant about, there's no way I'm going to get a needle stuck in me, Randy. No way.
That's good. You sound like a cross between Pete and Jack Nicholson.
That's pretty much what I was going for.
Okay.
John Conroy coming in just a little bit light here.
Yeah, a lot of times I think first time on any type of stepladder or showcase, you as the game goes on, I think you start to realize where you are, and it stays quiet the whole time. And a lot of times it takes a game to get through that and to start to get loose.
Well, he's up against the kind of murderer's row. When you talk about Monacelli, Bob Learn Jr., Ron Mohr, Brian LeClair, I mean, these are folks that are proven winners. They've been here before. And at some point, that's going to have to sink. That'll register.
Exactly. I think, and whether you're in John's position or even a little bit more seasoned. Way to go, Amleto. Great shot.
And how great does he still throw it, John?
He throws it tremendous. He looks just like he did when he was 30. It's amazing. He really does. Last year in Newport Richie, I qualified 5th for the telecast, and my first match was against Pete Weber. And I remember saying, oh, well, if I should get by this first match, terrific. I get to bowl Walter next. If I get by that one, I get to bowl Walter Ray, and Parker Bone, and if I win that, I get to bowl Norm Duke. So the ladder just keeps getting higher.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that John is thinking the same thing.
Amleto's kind of changed his starting position a bit here.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
Obviously, to change his role. How about that hit?
How about that? The scout taking out the 10, and that's hard here. The one thing about here is you leave so many corners.
Yes.
And that didn't happen too often this week.
I watched it for 2 days. It looked like me bowling league.
Are you leaving a lot of wraps in league?
Oh my gosh. I went up to 16 pounds, John. I can't get the corners out. I leave less week 10s, though. I'm happy about that. And this is where you really start to feel the pressure. Because now you're trailing, and you leave flat 10s. You're not getting the ball to face the pocket correctly, and now John Conroy is in a world of hurt.
Yeah, and if you don't throw it just perfect and you hit anywhere around that half to 3/4 spot, you leave a 10-pin every time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
If the carry would have been exceptional, and we, we're not trying to beat up the center. I'd never do that to John Lespina's place.
Okay.
But some centers the carry's a little bit tougher. The center that I work at and I bowl at, the carry's not great there. And then there's some centers you go to and you just touch the 1-3 or the 1-2 in your case and you strike. If the carry was exceptional here this week, what would the scoring averages be like?
20 pins a game higher. What you try to explain to the layman and our commissioner that You can give a great shot by John there. You can give a great shot to the pocket here because no matter what you think the scoring pace is going to be, it's going to be lower because the carry's so tough. So to make the cut was a 215 average. To get a super senior check was a 204 average. That's all it was, as good as it was to get to the pocket here. If we bowled in a place with this kind of pattern, let's say in the Villages, it would have taken 230, 235. No doubt about it.
Oh. And right after the good messenger hit, he almost leaves a pocket 7-10, John.
Exactly. And that happens here every year, all week. They've tried. I know that John Laspina spent about $25,000 having them come in, calibrate the lanes, the flat gutters, to see that they're correct, and everything they can think of to find out why the carry is really tough. So there isn't much more he can do, and it's just the way it is. I don't know why it is the way it is here, but it is.
I spoke to the head mechanic at Gold Coast about pin carry, and he said so much goes into the installation, what's underneath the pin deck. You've got your kick plates, yeah, you can change the kick plates, put the phenolics in, but it's so much about the installation underneath the pin deck and getting those pins to be lively.
Yeah, I guess once the installation is in, great shot by Amleto, he cut the 10. That didn't happen a lot either.
Right.
There really isn't much you can do if the installation has created that situation.
John Conroy right now can cut the deficit. Whoop, score went away. There it is. He can cut the deficit to, it looks like 13.
Came off the ball a little. Oh, solid 8.
Oh, Johnny, we don't call it that.
We don't call it a solid 8?
No, we don't reference that hit.
That hit? Is that right?
We don't reference that hit on Extra Frame, John.
Okay. All right. Well, fill me in. What do you call it?
That was a tap.
A tap.
Yeah.
A tap.
You can reference it on Extra Frame when I'm not here.
Now I fully understand. And Ernie Schlegel's not even on the show.
You can't mention his name.
Name either. Right. That would be taboo.
Wait a minute, John. Hang on. I got a phone call. It's my therapist.
That's your therapist. Okay.
All right. Well, that was a terrible break because he could have cut the deficit to 13. Right now he's going at 196. Amleto 219 halfway through our first Stepladder game for the 2017 PBA50 Johnny Petraglia BVL Open presented by Brunswick. We talk about a lot that you were responsible for getting me my first ever ball contract with Brunswick back in 1989.
1989. It's what had happened then was, to be honest, my boss brought me in to Brunswick, and the staff at that time was Dave Davis, Dave Sutar, and myself. And he said, John, the staff is starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. We want to hire some more guys. Think about that. He thought I was long in the tooth in 1989. That's pretty good. And obviously Davis and Sutar are older than me.
Yeah.
So he said, we need, I'd like to sign 3 people, and younger guys that you think will be doing well on tour, and give you a couple of months. Tell me, and I said, I don't need a couple of months. And he said, no. I said, I know what 3 guys I would go after right now. And he said, who's that? And I said, Randy Peterson, Amleto, Monacelli, and Parker Bone. And
wow, that puts me in some really big company. Yeah. Great shot.
Great shot. And he said, okay. And he went after all 3 of you. All 3 of you signed, and we had that really great staff at that time.
Yeah, it was some really good times, and we did some great things there. I was there for 12 years, and took a year off, and then I've been with Storm for 17. Imagine that.
Yeah, I've been with Brunswick 46.
Well, we talked about that earlier, that you've been with Brunswick almost as long as I've been alive.
Amleto looks sharp. He feels comfortable. This is he's getting out of the ball so clean. You know, a lot of times he used to jump on it, but now it's just, and he's throwing it so well.
Got that one in a little bit going left to right, and it just kind of stayed in the oil line a little too long. But he's in a great position right now and in complete control of this opening game. I think you're right, John. His ball looks like it's cleaner off of his hand, and you know, he's always had the great positions, the hand underneath, and his swing and his footwork, and of course being in great physical shape has always been a huge advantage for him, not only on the regular tour, but once he came out on the PBA50 tour.
He really looks very happy. No, maybe that's the wrong word. Maybe comfortable with himself.
Yeah.
You know, he looks, when he's bowling, I don't see him
he's
getting any mad anymore,
right.
Throwing his hands in the air. If he's getting a couple of bad breaks, he feels like he's bowling so well it doesn't matter, I'll come back. All right, John, this is a absolute must right here. If John doesn't throw on this next strike in the 9th frame, then he's got to root for a disaster. So this is John's big shot at a match that could keep him alive, because one mistake by Amleto could let him back in the game. He's really concentrating here. He knows how important this shot is. Pretty good. He's going to make it. Oh, it hooked up on him.
Wow.
Solid 4. Well, Amleto he needs a mark in 2 frames. He put himself in a good position. But we're seeing what happens in this house. John has missed a pocket 1 ball. Amleto hasn't missed a pocket, and it's 220 to 190. You know, and in a good scoring house, the scores could be a lot higher. I wish. I don't want to get too controversial, but I wish somebody from the USBC is watching this, because instead of coming up with these patterns to try and make it tougher to hit the pocket, they should be working on something like this, make it tougher to strike.
Right.
So you could put down a predictable pattern.
Correct.
And the scores would still come down. I always feel like, well, what's our solution this year? Let's come up with 5 more patterns.
Right.
We'll name them cities instead of animals. Whoops.
Hang on.
Game's not over. Just like that.
Hang on. The best Conroy can shoot 205. Amleto's going at a 220 pace, but he's got a big split now.
Well, there's a surprise. He might have got a little too relaxed once Conroy didn't strike.
If he doesn't cover this, he'll need a mark in the 10th. And we've seen crazy things happen on both tours.
Oh, boy. I got to give him a clap for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great spare.
That's pretty spectacular.
Yes, it is.
What a monster.
Yeah.
Amleto Monacelli, PBA Hall of Famer, major championship winner, 3-4, 6-7, 10. And that will seal the deal, and he will move on to face his good friend and tour roommate, Bob Learn Jr.
Yeah, that was really a great shot. And now he just needs some kind of count on the first ball. That's enough. That'll be a winner.
Now, Johnny, what's going through Amleto's mind now? I mean, the last 2 shots on the left lane, both flat 10s, kind of pushing a little bit too long. He goes high on the right lane, and now he's getting ready to go up against Bob Learn Jr. I mean, as a player, what are you thinking going into the next match?
I think that what happens here, you're almost in that micro move situation, because you know you're in the right part of the lane, and you know you made some good shots, and all you can do on a situation like this, to me, is to bring your eyes in a couple of inches, try to get the ball to move just a shade sooner, which is what he might have tried in the ninth frame that went through the nose. That would be the only disturbing thing. But he knows that he and Bob Learn are going to be in essentially the same place, so the oil is going to push a little bit further down the lane, probably create a little more hold, and where he threw that fill ball, he's going to remember that.
Big question for him, though, is when he comes back to the right lane after leaving the big split.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what's the move? Do I move 2-1? Do I move 3-1? Do I move 4-2?
Or do I move vertically instead of horizontally?
Right.
That's the other thing.
Well, it was a great event for John Conroy. He's going to finish 5th.
Yes.
Amleto will move on to face Bob Learn Jr. We will bring you that next match. The PBA50 Johnny Petraglia BVL Open from Farmingdale Lanes in Farmingdale, New York. Long Island, everybody. More action coming your way. Stay with us. All right, everyone, welcome back to the PBA50 Johnny Petraglia BVL Open presented by Brunswick. We are here in Farmingdale, New York. For those of you not familiar with that part of the country, we are in Long Island. Randy Peterson joining me, PBA Hall of Famer, my great friend Johnny Petraglia. Johnny, great match one. Now you've got the two best friends and tour roommates going up against each other. Your thoughts?
Oh, this is going to be tough because they two terrific athletes, two guys that work out together in the gym as well as bowl together, do clinics together. And what do you do when you're bowling? Your best friend, your roommate, the person that you work with, you just have to let it go for 10 frames, and I got to strike every ball. I love the guy, but I love me better, and you've just got to get into that mode to win.
It's a great point. Now, here we are in game two, and already, I watched the players bowl a 5-game block and a 6-game block, and they were not this deep.
That's right.
And so after 20 minutes of practice and one game, the players are deeper than I've seen all week. Now, who do you think has an advantage in this match?
I feel that the deeper they get, that Amleto gets the advantage. I think Amleto, because his swing tucks so much and he likes to send it, that he feels really comfortable the deeper he gets. Bob Learn loves to fire the ball. He loves to try pick up speed, and if he could get, for instance, all the way out to 5, he'll go 5 to 5, and he feels completely comfortable like he did in the Villages.
Right.
So I would give Amleto the slight edge as they move in deeper.
Okay. Is it a power thing, John?
I think it's not only a power thing, it's a vision thing. It's what the picture that you like to see
Gotcha.
On the lane. And that can put you right into your wheelhouse, into your comfort zone if you're getting the picture you want to see.
That's a great point. So much of it is visual and visualizing the shape of the shot and then creating it.
Exactly. It's a lot of times it's the way you were taught, what you get to see and what you like the best, the center you grew up in.
Two late 10s back-to-back for Amleto Monacelli, John.
Yeah, well, they're in that transition mode right now. He knows that if he's a little bit soft, that 5 count through the nose, I think, affected Amleto just a little bit, where he's trying to increase speed and keep the ball in, not go around as much and let that happen.
What is the adjustment for Amleto?
Well, I'm a left-hander, and for me, if I'm in that point, I always think in a vertical mode rather than a horizontal mode. So if I'm very happy with my ball reaction to the pocket, but it's just not quite getting there, I'll pull my eyes in a few inches to get it to move a little bit sooner.
Try to
and
get it
stay in the same place.
Try to get it to start up a little bit early.
Exactly.
Boy, he got a ton of hand on that shot.
Boy, did he ever, didn't he? I mean, he really leaned on that one.
Bob may have to change the finger inserts on his bowling ball after that shot.
And that one looked like he threw it off his back leg. He got
I know,
so much
right?
hand into it.
He did. Oh, my goodness. Blows in that thumb hole, John. What's the purpose for that?
To get the moisture out. You want that. You don't want that thumb hole to feel a little grimy and stuff, so you blow in it, and after a while it becomes a habit. But it does make you feel like it's dry and you're going to be able to hang on to it. Wow, he looks sharp.
Players running it out when the ball gets to the arrows is usually a good sign.
That's a good sign. He's happy with his look. And so if this keeps up, I may look like an idiot.
You know, looking at his ball reaction now, to me it looks like Amleto needs to create more angle because his ball is sitting in the oil longer and it's coming out of the end of the pattern later. So it looks like he needs to start circling just a bit more to get the ball to face up to the pocket like Bob Learn's ball's facing.
Yeah, it's still a little bit in, but that's what happened. It took off again. He tried to correct that and it picked up early. That lane's giving him a problem, and this could really be critical for Amleto right here.
John, how much does it affect these two players given that they have completely different ball rolls? It looks to me like Amleto is much more up the back than Bob Learn. Bob Learn a little more on the side.
But Bob has more ball speed. And even though Amleto seems to be up the back a little bit, I think I haven't really checked it out, but I always felt that Amleto has a little more axis tilt, which is going to make it come off the spot harder.
Okay.
And Bob looks like he can grab and get on it all he wants, and it's not going to grab early on him right now.
And it's not going to come off the end of the pattern sideways.
Exactly. If you would have watched that first day, Todd Lathrop, who was the first round leader, that had he had that reaction that the ball was coming off the spot so perfect he never went high.
Taking a look at Amleto's bowling ball, he's using a pin down, hole down, which is going to get the ball to read sooner.
Yeah, I think he's trying to smooth it out, and boy, he's really caught in that trap right now.
Yeah. So now it looks like if he gets a little softer, he gets it right, it goes through the face.
Yeah, and it also looks like that his shot on the left-hand lane is being affected by his shot on the right lane. That he doesn't want it to go early and go high again. A lot of mental stuff going on here, Randy, as well as execution.
Johnny, how much of that affects the execution?
Well, that's what it's all about. I remember people asking me, when you're on TV, what do you feel? I said, well, in the beginning I was nervous, but then after a while you realize, let's see how Bob, it was pretty good. Oh, he looks, oh, wow.
He like lets go of it and then starts to go sideways.
I realized that, after a while that, only 1 in a million people get to feel the way I do right now for all the right reasons. And then once you realize that, you have fun with it. Then it's great.
Right now, Bob Learn is in the zone, and it's kind of a carryover from a couple of weeks ago. He's been bowling great, and Bob looks like he's poised to win again.
Yes, it does. Wow. He flushed 5 in a row. That one was in a little bit, and it didn't labor. It made it all the way to the pocket solid.
See that backswing a little bit behind him, but for us older guys, that's actually helpful to get the ball to feed to the right.
Exactly.
The young guys get the ball out, they walk left, and then they have that big tuck to the inside.
Yeah, which makes them automatically feed.
Right. Amleto still has that.
He still has that.
Brian LeClair has that.
Exactly. And if we're going to go to the extreme, you think of Belmonte, who really walks left and then feeds it with 2 hands. Bingo. He went to where Bob is. Did you notice that?
Did you see how much more angle was created there with more speed?
Yeah, he got his break point out to about 6, the same way that Bob was. It's almost like he went to school on Bob's shot right here.
Look how much farther right. Looks like it's got a little more spin to it. and there was more angle being created. That's why I brought it up. I said it looks like his angle is a little too straight through the front, which makes the ball sit in the oil too long, and it doesn't come around the corner and get to the pocket flush enough.
Well, we're going to see if he feeds this one, Randy, because this one is almost a must right here. Got it out, and it came all the way back. Great shot. You know, it's one thing, Randy, to know what I better try to do, and then to get up and do it exactly the way you want it. That's talent.
His angles are completely different now in the last two shots than they were in the previous four. But Learn in complete control here, John, with perfect through 5. Oh, no.
Oh, look at how quick the complexion can change. You know, just like that, if he gets 9 out, you're bowling 227, and you know he's thinking if Amleto gets 2 more, it's a 15-pin game. I had the whole game locked up. And all of a sudden, I don't.
Bob Learn Jr. goes a little bit high, leaves the 4-10. He's going to try to slide the 4 into the 10 to remain clean. Ooh.
Almost. You see that, but I think that's a good decision right there, because even though it's only the 6th or 7th frame, the 6 instead of the 4 at that number is going to become important at the end of the game. To be up, with whether it's 14, 24, 34 instead of the 2.
Right.
So that a spare 8 count, and all of a sudden you're only 1 shot away from it being even. The count's important. It's like having to throw an extra strike. Yeah, that was great.
He looks just as good as he did 2 weeks ago when he was firing it straight up first arrow.
Yeah, he does. He's really been in a good spot lately. He's throwing her very, very well.
Folks, this is better than ESPN Classic. I mean, you've got 2 guys, PBA Hall of Famer, a guy that once averaged 280 on television. You were on that show. You were a recipient. I got it in the title match when Bob Learn averaged 280 for 4 games in Erie, Pennsylvania. Guys are going head-to-head. Big shot for Amleto.
Yeah, good shot. Oh, wow. Overhooked on him. Got it too wide too quick.
Right? It looked like it was even farther right. He needed that hit, though, to get back in it, Johnny, and time is running out for Amleto.
Yeah, that was a really big hit. He needed to throw these 2 to really put pressure on Bob.
So, John, let me ask you this. He goes flush when he changes his angle. Learn gets up, who's perfect, and goes high on that same lane. If you're Amleto, do you make a move prior to this shot?
I do think that there has to be some consideration that maybe I won't throw a 100% shot. I'm pretty happy with the shot I made the last time. We don't know that he made a move or he just missed the board wider than he did last time. You know, you would have to ask him that, like, it wasn't as good a shot as the previous shot.
There's a good look there to your left, Amleto's wife, and sitting next to her, Bob Learn's wife. And you know, back in the day when we were on ABC television, you had the wives sitting next to each other. Awkward.
Oh, awkward. That was brutal. I don't know how they could do that.
I know, right? I mean, how did there was never a cat fight? I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, amazing. Great control. The wives have great self-control.
Yep. Look at that.
Well, there's nothing wrong there except you got
hosed.
You got hosed.
Yeah. It's extra frame, John. We could say hosed, or we could say he got screwed, but
he got screwed.
Probably not on the network.
Oh, wow.
He almost left a pocket 7-9, which he's left a few of those this week.
Yeah, that hit so hard. There was no deflection at all.
Yeah. And Amleto's run looks like it's getting near to the end. Depends on obviously his opponent, but Bob Learn, you know, he's throwing it great. He's in complete control. He's going to make a move here, John. And I expect nothing but 10 in the pit here.
He might get it in a little bit. We'll see. This could be a flat 10. He's not taking chances. Packed. It looked like he got it in a little bit, but it flipped so hard in the back it didn't seem to matter.
Watch this. The ball goes through the pins so hard, it creates its own vortex, and it just sucks 10 back.
Yeah.
But
really,
unfortunately, Bob's rear end was in the way.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
It was like a vacuum cleaner, though. He just
locked and loaded. Bob Learn doubles up after the open in the 6th. Look at that.
Oh, trip 4. Now, that hasn't happened this week.
Trip 4. That was like trip 4, 7-10.
7-10. Nobody's tripping the 4 or the 6 on the left. That's a big break. That's the lockout right there.
What was nice was the reaction that Amleto gave Bob as he came back off of that shot. And that's the class of Amleto Monacelli and showing you the friendship between these two. But this guy right here is one classy guy. I don't know of anybody that doesn't like Amleto. And he's been that way throughout his entire career.
Now, here's one thing to bring out. Here's a typical of what can happen when the carry is tough. Sure, there's going to be big games. But Amleto has one ball through the nose for the big 5 right there. Every other ball has hit the pocket. He's bowling 189. The best that he can bowl is 199.
Right.
And so now if you have a 250 or a 240 and then you bowl 189, you come back with 230 and you look at all the scores together and you say, look at how great the guy is bowling in the 2 big games he bowled, but he shot 670 maybe, and he averaged 223 for those 3 games. It's nothing outrageous.
Agreed, and that's what we saw for the last 2 days, John, was the corners, the carry, and how it so dictated what the player shot because it wasn't tough to get to the pocket.
Exactly, and boy, we've been so used to what we've been watching for the last couple of days. That shot there that cut the 10, you go, wow, that was really good because nobody's cutting the 10 on that hit.
Right.
So when it does happen, you're surprised.
Well, this is one of the greats in our sport and has been for a long time, and true gentleman. Amleto Monacelli from Barquisimeto, Venezuela, now currently living in the Miami area, South Florida, with his wife, and doing very well. And it's always great whenever we get a chance to see Amleto on Extra Frame, and he gave us a great highlight in that first game.
Yes, he did.
Coming up for Bob Learn, who is going to advance, will be Ron Mohr, and we will get Johnny Petraglia's thoughts on that upcoming match when we come back. Take a look. There it is. Jeff Goodger is so on point when it comes to pulling up replays. He could be like the best EVS operator in the business. And if you don't know what that is, folks, that's the guy who runs the replays in the production truck. Amleto's going to finish with 197. Bob Learn, Johnny, he gets up in the 10th frame needing nothing. What is the strategy now for Bob Learn moving forward?
He's got, I think, even though it's a micro move, an experiment's got to be coming up. Should I decide to miss in? Should I move 2 and 2 left to see what the ball does? I'm going to do something a little bit different, and just to see what the ball reaction is. And he was deeper, no doubt. And
didn't
he saw what happened.
And didn't get it to the spot.
And he didn't get it to the spot. And now he knows that.
Yep. He looks back with that look, and now he's going to try to convert the 2-8 and give it another go. I think converting this 2-8 is very important to give him another shot on that lane.
You and I think exactly alike. Right now, I would really be concentrating on making the 2-8 because I want one more practice shot. And look at this, he's going to throw a different ball. And we'll see if he throws a different ball on the fill ball now.
This next shot is huge. It sets up the next game for Bob and basically gives him the roadmap, gives his brain the roadmap for what he's going to do as he's going. Is that a bigger ball, John?
That's a different ball that he's throwing.
Bigger ball, stronger ball?
I'm trying to make out what it is. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure, but
it looks like it's more aggressive.
It looked like it was a little bit more aggressive, but it looked like it got a little longer too.
All right, folks. Bob Learn Jr. defeats Amleto Monacelli. Coming up, Ron Mohr will look to win for the first time in 5 years. Randy Peterson, Johnny Petraglia, Jeff Goodger, and Phil Brylow working the cameras. We'll be back with more right after this. All right, everyone, welcome back to the PBA50 Johnny Petraglia BVL Open. Randy Peterson along with PBA Hall of Famer Johnny Petraglia, Jeff Goodger, and Phil Brylow. We are set for our semifinal match between Bob Learn Jr. and Ron Mohr. Super senior Ron Mohr, Johnny.
Yes, he is. He tremendous shape. He keeps himself in great shape.
Johnny, he was stretching earlier. He had his head over his. He had his legs over his head.
Yeah, I know.
And we were all just sitting here looking at him, going, "That looks painful."
It does. Oh my! There's there's the confused look. There it is, right there.
You know, as a player, John, you feel like you've got the entire right side of the lane, and then all of a sudden that happens.
And that happens.
What does that do to your psyche?
A lot, because now the next time you get up on the lane, I don't have ultimate bounce. What happened? Oil got carried down a little bit, plus Ron's going to bowl on this lane, push it down a little bit further. I got to really start to think. I got to make a 100% shot.
Well,
try, but a bad start.
Ron Mohr getting up now here in the first frame. Hasn't won on the senior tour in 5 years.
Isn't that amazing?
It really is. I mean, this guy was former player of the year. I mean,
twice.
He dominated out here, and yet he hasn't won in 5 years. Hard to believe.
It really is, and he is intense. This is a guy 100% on every shot.
Oh. And he goes light.
And he looks completely confused.
Right out of practice. Johnny, is it a wet-dry kind of thing? What's going on with the lanes?
I think it is. I think that I think that they haven't they haven't missed a lot to the right, and that if they do, that ball's going to come back. But they've thrown so many shots right at target that spot is carrying down just enough to create that 3-pin on both those shots.
Ron Mohr covers the 2, and quite honestly, looking at the replay of that shot that Jeff Goodger gave us, he could have left 6.
Yeah, he got away
real
with a
easy.
spare
I mean,
there.
that could have been 2, 4, 8, 10 easily. Instead, it's just a 2-pin and an easy spare. Now, Ron Mohr steps up on the left lane, frame 2. Did he like that?
I don't think he did. I think that's
why I asked the questions,
yeah,
John.
Okay, we both saw the same thing.
That's what I
saw. I
saw.
don't think he was happy when he let this go.
I think he thought this was going through the face.
Oops. Wait a minute. That's exactly right. Wow, the lanes are tightening up.
Ball change.
And it sort of labored right in the back end. There's that 10-pin.
John, take a moment and talk about BVL and Bowl for Veterans.
Well, BVL was started in 1942 by a ladies' bowling league in Wisconsin to send care packages to troops overseas. In 1946, they opened their first official bowling center in a VA hospital, four-lane center. Harry Truman threw out the first ball.
Wow.
And they raise about $1 million a year. It was originally the Bowlers Victory Legion. It changed to Bowlers to Veterans Link. The 2 key things that are important about this is that federal funding stops at rehab, okay? After that, everything is a donation. So you have the money for people that are going to rehab every single day. And where the BVL comes in, wow, did that overreact off the last shot? All of a sudden, he got in trouble. And where the BVL really kicks in is, what can we do for them while they're in rehab? Because you get up there and you're trying to get your legs back, you're in a wheelchair, they got you walking on the bars or whatever exercises it is you're doing, and then you go back to your room. And people don't realize that there's rehab and then go back to the room, watch some TV and nothing else. So we try to come up with everything therapeutic that we can to take them on camping trips, to wheelchair basketball games, bowling tournaments, everything that you can think of to that's recreationally therapeutic, I guess would be the best way to put it. The thing I'm the most proudest about BVL is 6 cents of every dollar goes to expenses. 94 cents goes to the veterans. And that's our operating budget, 6%. That's it.
Well, it's tremendous.
Great shot by Ron right there.
Well, John, I've done a lot of things with the military, both active and retired. I did 12 events last year all over the world, all Air Force bases. And I've been actively involved with Wounded Warriors Project through Storm, where we do events with Storm in conjunction with that great program. But I'll never forget the time that you took me to the wall.
To the wall. I knew you were going to bring that up. That's... Wow. Threw him great. He's got something figured out there.
Yeah, and he's getting his ball to read and then stand up.
And then stand up at the back end.
Yeah.
Which Bob didn't have right now, these first few frames.
The lines have completely changed. They went from kind of more rainbow, get it to the right and have it come off the spot, to now let's get a little straighter through the front.
Yeah, I think that Brian LeClair on the sidelines has got to really be thinking now the way that he wants to approach it. Is a third bowling ball. And that ball hooks like crazy.
Johnny, how does a player go from what Bob Learn had a game ago to now having 0?
It's amazing that the lanes can change that fast. A little bit, I think it's you got to make sure that you don't lose focus. It's got to be, let's analyze this. I got one game. Let me get back into it. I know that Bob has been telling me that he's been bowling good all year, and it's time to complete the job. And I guess once you get closer to the title match, if you start thinking about that too much, that you might put a little bit extra pressure on yourself. I think that he's picked up the right ball now. If he can get into the right place, if there's enough time left in the game, he's going to need a mistake by Ron, and if he gets one, I think he has a chance to jump back into it.
Or bad carry by Ron.
Or bad carry.
So he doesn't get too far ahead. Right. I believe this is the same bowling ball I saw Ron use all day today.
Yeah, he seems to have confidence in it, doesn't he?
Yeah, and all he's done is just chase it left. Big lead for Ron Mohr right now, stepping up at the 5th frame, working on 3 in a row.
Oh, wow. He looked really comfortable there, didn't he?
Yeah, it almost looks like his ball comes off the spot a little bit softer.
A little bit softer, and he's throwing it with a tremendous amount of confidence. I think Bob's 2 opens gave him a lot of confidence, gave him that little bit of room so that he really got comfortable.
Isn't it amazing how a couple of opens by your opponent frees up your arm swing?
Yeah, isn't that always the way? It used to say, well, the way that Ernie runs him out and all this is he can intimidate you. And I always say, no, intimidating me is if you start with the front 7.
Right.
And I'm intimidating.
I love it. That's great. Oh, that's a great.
You can stand there at the line and do nothing. I'm intimidated when you got the front 7.
Exactly.
So.
That was kind of Earl Anthony-esque, where
right.
he never slapped it off or ran it off in your face or anything. He just threw 7 in a row at you.
Exactly. He just bombed them, And then when you ended up against the Don Johnson type, who did run all over the place and threw the front 7, and you knew you better be up a pin in the 9th frame because he's going to throw the last 4.
Right.
That's intimidating.
Yeah.
There's some guys on TV in those head-up matches. Mike Albee, you just
quietly just killed you.
Quietly killed you, and there was just some really interesting guys on television.
Yep.
And there is today too. There's a lot of good.
Yeah,
ones.
there really is. I love Ron Mohr's shirt. He's a Las Vegas resident, and the back of his shirt it says, we'll get it here in a second. Hang on. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas or something like that.
Right.
Well, I had a comment for that in a minute. Hang on. And that's kind of what I expected with
Right there, yeah.
with his role and how deep he is now. And I think that was the only question mark coming into this game. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah.
Johnny, you know that Las Vegas, they've changed their slogan. It used to be whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. They've changed it to whatever you bring to Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah, so
that's,
just thought I'd let you know about that new slogan change for Las Vegas, Nevada, as I get a little chuckle from Jeff Goodger. Thank you, Jeff. It's great to know you're still alive, even though you're sitting right next to me. All right, Bob Learn Jr. Now, Johnny,
here's the key.
What has to happen for Bob to have any chance?
He's got to hit flush right now. He's made the move. He knows what the ball's going to do. He's got to make a good shot so that he has confidence, and we'll see what it does.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Tried to open the lane up even more. It overhooked.
It overhooked.
Yep.
I don't know whether that was a bad shot or he overthought it as he changed the bowling ball, but he certainly had the first shot that labored and he left the 210 affected the way that he threw the ball the next two frames.
Wet dry.
And Ron Mohr isn't getting wet dry. He's
great shot.
Fair. Yeah.
We've seen two of those made thus far, and that's why Tom Clark loves watching extra frame.
One last thing that I wanted to bring up about BVL, or rather the troops more than anything, is whether it's BVL, Wounded Warriors, VFW, American Legion, Knights of Columbus, anybody that you're trying to help. And it's very important to me. That lane he's got figured out, that one there. And it's the right lane, the same one that Amleto had trouble with that he's now got in trouble with. I would like the people that are listening to remember that these troops that are out there, they take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and its citizens. And what that means, once you take an oath, that's your word. That's the most important thing you got. That if the country's attacked, they're the ones that stand in between you and the enemy, and they'll take a bullet for you. Great shot. And just as important with that is that they don't go, wait a minute. They're apolitical. They don't go, are you black or white? Are you pro-life or pro-choice? Are you a Republican or Democrat? You're an American. That's really all that matters. And as long as you're an American, they'll sacrifice their life for your life. If our politicians that take the same oath would follow the way that the military does, I think we'd be a lot better off. And it's just, I'd like the folks to remember that men and women out there, they're willing to die for us. When you're donating to charity, that means don't let them die without us. You're doing the best to support them.
Unequivocally, without question. And I think that's a great point, Johnny. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. I think our country's come a long way in regards to our military and our armed forces and our men and women who serve this country. And it's a good thing to watch. And watching, as much as we travel, as much as I travel, watching people buy servicemen and women their lunch at the airport and giving up a seat for them. And it's nice to see. But, I don't think we can do enough for our folks that maybe are going through some of the things that they're going through, and that's why BVL is so huge.
Right, and to protect us. That's what it's all about.
Ball change again.
Ball change again. And didn't get the 10 out. That was pretty much the match by not getting the 10 out there. It's a very good point. And how things have changed. Like you said, like you brought up when we went to the wall, and you said, I remember you telling me that it's the first time in my life that I saw you dysfunctional. That I couldn't handle it, put two sentences together, whatever. And a lot of it had to do with that. At that point in time, we weren't accepted coming home,
right?
And everything was kept inside, and so it would all come outside when you got to a place like that. At least the public today knows, the military has nothing to do with who decided what's the right war or the wrong war. Is he on the wrong lane?
He's getting the deadwood. He's getting the deadwood out. A litlittle levity by Bob Learn Jr.
Bobby.
Love it. Pretty much going to be Ron Mohr against Brian LeClair in the title match, but Bob Learn with a little levity.
Good form.
That's why we love him. It was kind of a Fred Flintstone-ish approach. Well, Johnny, and just we'll touch on it one more time, but I'll never forget that day and what effect it had on you some almost 30 years after the fact, and that was so profound for me. I was just glad I could be a part of it and share that moment with you. As traumatic as it may have been for you, it was so eye-opening for me and what our servicemen and women went through over in Vietnam, and I'll never forget that moment. And I thank you for taking me there.
Thanks, and to the folks out there, when they talk about PTSD, remember it doesn't have to be a life-threatening situation to experience PTSD. If you're a combat nurse and there was a battle going on and they're sent to your hospital and you have 30 wounded coming in, and during the course of the day you lose 4 of them, that's PTSD.
Right.
That's a bad day, and you'll remember that for the rest of your life.
Agreed. Ron Mohr's got a great command. No, we don't talk about that, remember?
We don't talk about that. No, that's a tap.
That's a tap.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just a tap. All right, folks, it's a solid 8. I'm a big boy. Solid 8 by Ron Mohr, but he's in complete control of this match. He is going to move on and face Brian LeClair. And right now, Ron Mohr is poised to win another PBA 50 title. Hasn't won in 5 years.
As they are getting ready, Randy, to leave here, 2 years ago in the World Championships, Ron Mohr and Bob Learn, along with Lenny Borish, who won 2 years ago, and myself, the 4 of us were Senior Team USA, and we won a gold medal, coming from behind to beat Sweden and then Australia for the gold. And I'll tell you what, one of the great moments of my life to stand up there and listen to the national anthem and to have that gold medal placed around your neck. And they're playing the anthem for you. And to share it with, there's Lenny, to share it with the 3 other guys.
Yeah.
And the ladies who also won the gold for us, it's just one of those great feelings in life. Terrific.
The PBA League Series is fun. It's a great time, and it's awesome. But I don't think what you guys went through even compares. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what you guys did, it's for your country. I mean, that's got to be pretty special.
Yeah, this year coming up next in 2018, it'll be in Munich. And I'm not sure who Senior USA is going to be. But
listen, if you need a guy, I'm sitting right next to you.
Well, hey,
Hey, I'll come out of retirement. I'll start working.
I'm not going. You send in your application. They're accepting applications right now.
If I send in my application, they'll just reject it, John.
Oh, come on.
They'll just reject it, Johnny. You know that. Another great week for Bob Learn Jr. As he completely lost the right lane, and he can't wait to get out of here. But Bob, being the great sport that he is, he knows that. And
I'm looking at Ron Mohr's game, Randy. He shot 226.
Yeah.
He never missed a hole.
No, he went light in the first frame.
Oh, right. He went light in the first frame. That was it. And then after that, that's.
And then he went 4 nines in a row. Never missing the pocket.
Never missing the pocket. So this last game could really be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Well, and the way it's been going is I don't think there's a player that has won back-to-back games yet.
No, not yet. You're correct.
So if you're an odds maker, you got to favor Brian LeClair in this title match. However, you can't count Ron Mohr out.
Absolutely not. And, look at that one.
Hang on.
All right, he's
having fun. Love it.
Okay.
Good job, Bob.
Good job, Bobby. Nice week. Yeah.
We will be back with our title match in just a few minutes, folks. Randy Peterson, Johnny Petraglia, Jeff Goodger, and Phil Brylow. It is the PBA 50 BVL Johnny Petraglia Open coming to you live from Farmingdale, New York. Stay with us. And we are back for the title match of the PBA 50 Johnny Petraglia BVL Open presented by Brunswick. Ron Mohr, Brian LeClair, and Ron Mohr is going to start the match, which means he will finish the match, Johnny, on the right lane. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that of the 2 lanes, the right lane is a little bit more finicky. I mean, the right lane is a little bit more finicky than the left. So Brian LeClair having Ron finish on the right lane is probably a good move.
And you see the masking unit there, folks. Johnny, talk real quickly about the bowlforveterans.org website.
That's the website. If anything you want to know about the BVL or how to donate money, just go to bowlforveterans.org. Click on all the links that are there. It'll tell you everything that you want from the beginning until now.
All right, Ron Mohr starts with a flat 10, folks. This is the title match. Brian LeClair with 2 PBA 50 titles to his credit. Ron Mohr with 8. Brian LeClair winning the season opener in Newport Richey. He was the recipient of a Norm Duke gift when Norm Duke needed, I believe, 9 and got 6. Actually, Norm Duke needed any mark or 9.
Or
left
9.
a 2, 4, 8, 10, and that cost him the match. Brian LeClair won on the bench. Here it is right here. Jeff Goodger on top of it as usual. And there it is. He needed 9 on the first ball or any mark. So after he leaves the 2, 4, 8, 10, he needs to convert. He did not. Here's that attempt. Really close, too, John. Thought he made it.
Yeah, he thought he made it. Thought it was really hooking back.
And Christmas comes early for Brian LeClair in his second PBA 50 title. Now, looking for his second of the year, and a stranglehold on PBA 50 Player of the Year race.
That's true. That really put him in a good driver's seat going into the major. See, now he has a little bit more axis tilt than Ron, but the speed is making him get up the lane.
Yeah.
So he's not getting that over-under reaction.
Throwing a big ball, and his angles are much straighter through the front part of the lane.
Front. Here we go.
Flat
From
10.
Solid to flat 10. Everybody that's coming up for game 2 seems to be experiencing the same thing. And now when he makes his adjustment in frame 3, we're going to find out if the ball goes high or it holds flush.
Great point. Flat 10, flat 10, flat 10 has been the MO of Ron Mohr the last 4 or 5 frames. Remember his last game, Johnny, 9.
Oh, right.
4 9s in a row to finish the game.
Exactly, and then 2 here, so that's 6 9s in a row now.
That would be the 6-pack of 9s.
Okay, I like that. We haven't. Yeah. Oh, solid 8. Well, he did the right thing, and he left a solid 8. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, you got a tap.
No, you know, Johnny, you could call it a solid 8. I feel comfortable with you calling it a solid 8. Any way you want to shake it, folks, that's a terrible break. Mm-hmm. Anytime you see that, folks, it's a terrible break. I don't care who you are or when it happens.
It's a terrible break.
And it should be stopped in our lifetime. Before I kill someone.
I think if you leave it, we should count it as a strike.
Did you hear what he just said? He just said that's my Randy Peterson.
That's what he said.
Really, Ron? Ron, I'll see you after this match.
Wow.
Can you believe he said that?
He's even thinking about that. That's amazing. He must have heard us talk before.
Oh, I'll see him after this match is over. I'll tell you that. All right, Brian LeClair working on a double. Driver's seat early. Question mark, right lane.
Oh, he carried, switched the rack, got that 7 out late.
He's always had that beautiful game, a little bit late timing, but he always hit the foul line so great. Can do lots of different things with his hand, John, and you see the great carry there at the end.
It is, and he's just decided that he's going to play straighter up the lane, and he'll try to eliminate the over-under, and right now so far it's working.
Using a big aggressive bowling ball to blend that wet-dry.
Mm-hmm. However, nobody's won a game in the third frame, so there's a long way to go.
You are correct, sir.
And
here it comes.
Oh, boy.
When it's your time, it's your time. And
yep.
It's looking like it's Brian LeClair time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hit that didn't, if it didn't go out fast, it didn't go. This one, a little bit slow motion, and it got there.
It got deflected and spun around and then rolled into the 10. One more flat 10 would be demoralizing.
It would be. Oh, wow.
That was almost a flat 7-10.
Almost a flat 7-10, and as you mentioned, 7-10. That's his 8th 9-count in a row, not 7. He now has 8 9-counts in a row. Incredible.
4 from the last game, folks. 4 to start this title match.
That is incredible. It really is. Randy, before we forget the Lespina family, about everything that they do here, all the money that gets raised, close to $150,000 over 3 years, is because of the hard work of John Lespina and his son Joe and Craig Ligori, the general manager here. They really 500-600 entries we get in the Pro-Am, and that's where all the money comes from to go to the vets. Wow. 9 nines.
Yeah.
That's it's almost like a German number.
Well, you know, if this was no tap, we'd be tied. But it's not.
It's not. Well, you know, they use no tap a lot in the Pro-Ams. So if this was the Pro-Am, they would be tied.
What a cruel game. What a cruel game. Couple flat 10s, a solid 8, big ring 10 there.
Oh, boy.
And you got to feel for Ron Mohr. Look at him shaking his head going, what's a guy to do?
Oh, he needs a mistake. He needs a mistake
he's not
by
gonna,
Brian.
He's not going to get one.
I don't know if he's going to get one.
Yeah, he's not getting that, John.
Well, he left a half 10. But it may be, maybe late enough.
Yeah, but, this doesn't damage your psyche when you start out with a front 4. He comes in light. That was expected with that hit. It's when you're hitting flush and going ring 10, solid 8. That's when it's damaging mentally.
Yeah, this is the situation where, okay, I bowled half the game, and as long as I fill the frames, he's got to figure out how to throw a 5-bagger.
Yeah, exactly.
And right now, he's 0 for 9, so it makes it a lot tougher.
He's got to figure out a way to throw a 5-bagger, and his max is a 6-bagger based on the amount of frames left.
Exactly. You're a numerical genius, Randy.
Well, and they said there wouldn't be any math. Right now, Brian LeClair kind of feels like he's in complete control because he is.
Yes, he is.
And he is all over Ron Mohr like a bum on a bologna sandwich, and he's not looking back. He just keeps ripping the pocket and throwing great shots just like this.
He really looks like sort of locked into the zone. I don't know what he would do in a second game, which seems to have happened to everybody on this show, the second game. But right now, he looks almost unbeatable. Oh,
what?
Got it in and threw a wally.
Well, Johnny, getting back to Brian LeClair, he dominated the qualifying and the match play portion of this tournament. And as your number 1 seed, I mean, he had a big lead over second.
Yep.
So as a former player and yourself as a current player, that has to do really great things for your confidence coming in.
Of course. Well, it can go both ways. Sometimes you feel like you lead by so much. I can't really win this title. All I can do is lose it, and that'll get to a certain player. But then when you come out of the gate fast, this is my week. You get that feeling like this is my week. And
look at that.
Another ring in 10, and we're getting to that number where he needs help, a lot of help from Brian to have a chance to win.
Well, you never say never, but Brian LeClair has not shown us that he is going to miss the pocket. It's just a matter of getting the corner out, and he is in complete control right now.
Yeah, whatever the reason, the ball just doesn't seem to want to go through the pins the way it's supposed to. And it goes in and out to a lot of guys this week. Oh, my, look at that. Yeah, now it's over. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not mathematically, but for all intents and purposes, yeah, I mean, and again, Johnny, we talk about when it's your time, and look at the rotation on that bowling ball, and then look at the love tap on the 10.
Wow. You just feel like right now you feel like he's going to hit high flush unless there's a complete lapse in concentration because you think it's over.
That Brian LeClair is so smooth, Johnny, he can slide uphill.
Oh, okay. There you go. Boom.
Pretty good
stuff.
stuff.
Go out on a limb and I'll predict that it's over.
Pretty good stuff. Great shot making here in the title match by Brian LeClair. Going to capture his 3rd career PBA 50 title and 2nd of the year.
Yeah, and a really nice early lead on the PBA 50 Player of the Year.
Look at him opening the lane up, John.
Yep.
Just an incredible game when you look at the 9s that Ron Mohr has left in the last game and 2 frames.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He went out there spare and packed a 4-bagger, and you said, wow, he's locked in. And a little bit of a change. The thing, Randy, is in a house that carries very well, you get that little bit less of a change and you throw pins everywhere and you still strike and you still feel like you got it.
Sure.
But when you know that if I lose it a little bit, if I'm not getting that ball to that flush spot, I'm not going to strike, it doesn't happen. You have to figure out how to get the ball flush again. Like that.
No solid 8? No, what happened? No solid 8 on that hit?
No tap.
No tap? Well, it's a beautiful shot by Ron, and finally all 10 go down. But
yeah. And his performance this game and the score don't match up.
No, and we saw that all week long, though. And you could say that about so many players. But, Brian LeClair is throwing strikes, and Ron Mohr is not. And that's the difference in this title match. There you go.
Is he going to bowl 279? This is really special.
I mean, it's a great performance, but quite honestly, not unexpected.
That's true. He did lead by, 200 pins?
Yeah.
Somewhere?
Close to right in that neighborhood. And, I mean, I don't think anybody's surprised that Brian LeClair is going to be your 2017 PBA 50 Johnny Petraglia BVL Open champion.
Yes, he is. And a great performance. And he needed a strike to win last year through a good shot, left the 10-pin. And Pete Weber won the title. And he comes back to lead this year, and he's going to win it and get his name added to that trophy. Great job by Brian.
Runner-up last year to Weber.
To Pete Weber last year. Yeah, I bowled He likes it here.
Yeah, obviously.
That's for sure. Amazingly, about 245.
It's his state.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's from New York, albeit I think more upstate, right?
More upstate, yeah. But he's down here a lot, bowling tournaments and stuff, and he feels very comfortable in the whole area. He's won 20 regionals, so that he feels good about that.
Sure.
Look at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brian LeClair is your champion, folks. We are going to hear from our winner. Please stay with us. I'm going to go down to the floor. We're going to have a check and trophy presentation and a winner's interview. I'm going to make my way down here in about 10 seconds. Johnny Petraglia, I want to thank you so much for joining us in the booth. Johnny, it's always a pleasure, my friend. We've been friends for a long time, and it's always a pleasure and an honor to call the action with you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. It's been great working with you, as always.
How about a nice round of applause for your champion, Brian LeClair? All right, and now for the important part. The owner, John Laspina, he's got some checks here for Brian.
We got some loot here, Brian. On behalf of all of us, you've thrilled us. We had a check in our pocket last year for you, but we're finally able to send it to you. So much good luck, and remember, this is about people who serve us, and you showed us how to win, and winning is great, but living a life that's free is even better.
I agree.
And people pay that price, so thank you very much.
Thank you, John. I just want to say thanks to John for everything he does to the PBA. Thank you to our veterans. Thank you to Johnny Petraglia. He set a great example for us bowlers to be able to do all this all these years, and I think Johnny deserves a great round of applause.
All right, thank you guys so much. Brian, last year you finished second here to Pete Weber. This year you're the champion. How does it feel?
Awesome. The start of this season's been awesome. Very lucky. I'm not sure I bowled a better game than Ron. Ron had a lot of tough breaks. Luckily today, I'm the winner, but he's a great champion. He's made a number of as many top fives as anybody the last 2 years, and we're lucky to be able to throw some of the greatest bowling balls on the planet with Rotagrip, and Team Rotagrip won too.
And Ron Mohr can actually stretch and get his foot over his head. You and I cannot do that. What was the biggest difference for you when you got to the title match? There wasn't a player on the Stepladder finals tonight that was actually able to win more than one game. What was different for you?
Well, I came down and watched the early matches, and I noticed Amleto and Bob were going around the lanes a lot more than what I did all week. So I thought that if the lanes would play similar, that I thought they would break down the lanes the wrong way for them, and it would play more to my game the way I played them all week, and it worked out.
Brian LeClair, your champion and the front runner for PBA 50 Player of the Year. Congratulations, Brian.
Thanks, Randy.